So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you hit $10,000 months serving real estate clients with your social media marketing agency. Now, one thing you'll notice is that I'm in Cape Town right now. I'm back in Cape Town. Obviously, I spent a lot of time here in 2020, and you'll notice that totally different background, the student interview. Well, this one actually fell through the cracks. This was two that I ended up, basically I was going through my hard drive, looking at a bunch of Zoom calls just because I'm about to put out like around 15 to 20 hours of content for the CPA students, basically just doing sales calls analysis, onboarding call analysis, or 15-minute demo call analysis, deals where I actually give it to one of our strategic referral partners, deals where I do a 3-call close, deals where I do a 2-call close, etc., etc. Anyways, I ended up finding out 2 student interviews in that process. So, with no further ado, it's a shame because this one and the other one that I have are actually 2 awesome, incredible student interviews. So, with no further ado, we are about to transport over to smack bang middle of America. You'll understand what I mean in just a second, and hear from 2 great agency students, as I said, hitting 10K months with their agency serving real estate clients. So let's get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another student interview. We are joined today with Rain and Lav out in smack bang middle of America, South Dakota, right?
Yep. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys call it? The flyover states or something?
Flyover states. The states that nobody visits.
The ones you wave at and don't visit ever.
So this dynamic duo has been working together for how long have you guys been agency business partners for?
Well, we've had a social media marketing agency for probably about a year now.
I think it's been over that. I think it's been like a year and a half.
But we didn't do anything the first 6 to 8 months, and so we pretend like we didn't have an agency for those first few months. We started our agency and actually started taking action January 1st of this year.
January 1st. That's awesome. So they've hit a couple 10K months, and from there kind of slunk down. And hoping to shoot back up, and I think there's a lesson that we're going to go over. And actually, I think maybe that's the first thing I want to talk about is, you mentioned to me, obviously, you guys had that 1 week in June. You said where you signed like 5-6 clients, and then what happened from there?
Yeah. So we had already had about 4 clients. So we had about 4 clients, and we got up to 10 clients. And that week was really fantastic. We were like crazy. It was like nuts, right? Law of averages just hit really hard on that week, I guess. But yeah, so it was a fantastic week. But the thing is we had our systems in check, but we didn't have our real estate like niched down systems. So for example, in Agency Incubator, you have the basic onboarding process, right? And it kind of covers everything, right? And it's not really specific to an actual niche, right? And so what we didn't do, and I think this is where, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but I think what happened was our onboarding process was a little bit, and just enough to basically not allow them to move forward, the clients to move forward. So a lot of them, what happened was they just didn't complete the onboarding process, and then they ended up backing out about a month later. So so we're down to, I think we're back at 4 clients.
So when they went through that onboarding, had they already paid the invoice at that point?
They did. That's what sucked, is because all these people signed up and they actually paid. We had the money, but then a couple weeks later, they'd reach out to us and they hadn't made their way through the onboarding process yet. And they're like, hey, I'd like a refund. I'd like to cancel my service.
Yep.
And so it sucks, but it's a really good lesson learned. And so we kind of went back in and we've like revamped our whole system and everything. And now, I'm pretty confident that anybody we bring on, we're going to get them through the onboarding process within, they should be able to go through everything and get the strategy call scheduled within a couple of days.
Yep.
Like have the call within a couple of days is what I mean. Yep. So we shouldn't have that issue anymore.
Yeah. And we also changed we changed 2 things mainly, our contract and our onboarding process, because those were the two questions that most people had. They were like, what the heck is going on here? And it wasn't like it was crazy. It wasn't like weird. It was because we tweaked a few things from your contract and a few things on the onboarding process. But other than that, it wasn't like super, nothing really threw it off much, I don't think, but it was just enough to kind of, what's that saying? You adjust the degrees by a fraction and you're off at the end by a mile kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what happened. But yeah, we're revamping everything and getting everything looking really nice. I'm actually really happy with where we're at right now.
Yeah. Also, we didn't set the right expectations from the start. And so that was a lot of it, you know, and we should have set that right from the start, that, you know, the sooner you get started, the sooner we can, you know, start creating your ads, start bringing your results. And I feel like that had a little bit to do with it. But that's our own fault. We learned, and yeah, we're going to do better.
Yeah. So that's that story.
Interesting. So you guys had that period, but that like 6 to 8 months period where, as you said, you guys were agency owners, but not really. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. And I think a lot of people basically just push back their success by however many months. You know, from the point at which you actually started your agency, January 1st, 2020, to, you know, hitting your first 10K months. I mean, that period was 6 months. So imagine if you had started 6 to 8 months prior, like properly started, you know, you would have made your mistakes, learned this, that, and, you know, who knows where you'd be. So my question is, how'd you get out? Was it, I mean, it seems like it kind of, you know, co-aligned with the new year. Like, how'd you guys get out of that funk of like, okay, we're agency owners, but we're not actually doing anything that's moving the needle forward?
The thing we were doing in the beginning is, I'd say we were focusing on like busy work, you know, and so we'd go through and we'd do some outreach this day. And then the next day we'd work on our website a little bit. And then, you know, we'd have a meeting one day. And that's kind of what we were doing for the months prior to when we like really got started.
Yeah.
And then it was actually like the last week in December, but we say it was the first week in January, just because, you know, it's easier. But yeah, the difference is when we started in January, we both sat down and we were like, no matter what happens, we're going to give this 6 months. And if we make it, we make it. And if we fail, we fail. It doesn't matter, but we're going to take action on the important things every single day, regardless. And so there were days when, I mean, we didn't sign our first client till the end of April. And so there were days that we'd go and we're just like, we're both sitting here at our computers and our families, keep in mind, we were both living with our families at the time, right? And so there were days when we're both living with our families and they're just hating on us hardcore. And we're two little friggin' nerds sitting at home, you know, working on our computers when we should be out, you know, working a full-time job. And we're like, man, should we quit? You know, is this worth it? But we just kept freaking pushing every day. And then, yeah, last weekend of April, we signed our first client. And then after that, man, it's just crazy. Once you sign your first client, it's so much easier to sign the rest of them.
Yep. And you can learn from the rest. So.
Yeah, it's insane.
For sure. So, I mean, I feel as though it's like it's a funk that people are in, that, you know, that agency, but not really an agency owner type thing. What advice would you give to someone to get out of that funk?
I'd probably say just make a decision, because really it's, or for me at least, it was just like committing, really. Because before, you know, I mean, I have a degree, I have kind of a backup plan. For me, I work better if I have no backup plan, which kind of sounds dumb, but really, if you fully commit like that, then you're gonna make it. So yeah, I would just say, just recommit yourself. You know, try to get your mindset right and then move forward from there. Because if you don't have your mindset right, then you're not gonna get to where you want to go. So that's what I would say.
And focus on the IPAs. Like, focus 90% of your day on outreach and having meetings. That's it, you know.
For sure. So what does a regular day in your life look like now?
Well, so now I still have my other business, which is what I'm actually trying to get away from right now. And it's kind of a summer job. I own a painting business. And so I have my whole summer booked out. And so that goes to about the first week in October. When that's over, I'm going all in on social media marketing just because I can. But, I'm obligated to finish these jobs. So right now, what my day looks like is, I wake up early in the morning, go paint all day long, and then I come back after painting, do a couple hours on social media marketing, go to bed, and then rinse and repeat. I'm trying to get out of that and just do social media marketing. But go ahead, Lovren.
Yep. What my day looks like is, well, okay, so I'm technically classified as unemployed right now, which is good because that means I can spend all of my hours on social media marketing. So that's what I do pretty much, is just as many hours as I can put in, I'll put in. So as far as like schedule goes, I usually do about probably actual 10% outreach. Right now we're really focusing on systems, trying to get like everything really nailed down.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working a lot on the website and funnels and kind of making sure that our clients have like a really seamless process. So I want to get it to where it's like there's no hiccups at all. So I mean, you'll never get there, but you can get pretty damn close. So that's
so what's the sort of working relationship between you guys? Does one do the sales? Does one do the service delivery? Or like, what's the dynamic?
Sure.
We pretty much both do everything.
Yeah.
Like a lot of our sales calls, if I'm working or whatever, or he's busy, we'll one of us will jump on the call and vice versa. If we can both be on the call, it seems like we do pretty well when we're both on the sales call, which I don't even know if that's the right way to do it, but we seem to have pretty good luck doing that. And so that's pretty much what we do as far as sales calls go. But the rest of our business, we have a contractor who actually sets up and runs our ads and everything, but we both work on the systems. We both work on outreach. It's about 50-50 on everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys working with the real estate agents, was that sort of the first industry that you guys jumped into? You want to tell me a story with that?
Yeah, go ahead, Lovren.
Okay, so in Agency Incubator, I think you talk about how it's important to choose a niche. I think it's first couple of weeks. But you also say that you give it like 6 months. You'll give us 6 months of.
Yeah, you have sort of like a 6-month probation period where you can kind of just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so we took that, and let me just say this: pick a niche as fast as possible, even if you switch niches, because when you're like, here real estate agent, here chiropractor, here veterinarian, it's not going to work. It won't. It's not. I mean, you might get a couple of clients like that, but it just everything's different for every niche. And so like what's comfortable for a real estate agent may not be comfortable for a veterinarian. And so we were trying to work with at one point a financial manager or whatever.
Yeah, we went financial advisors, gyms, chiropractors, veterinarians. Man, we were freaking all over the place. And then we're like, real estate agents, let's do it.
So, and we got into that because my father was a real estate agent and still is. He was very successful. Then I'm not sure if you're familiar with the year 2008, the market crash.
Yeah. I heard something important happened around that time.
Yeah. Basically, the housing market here crashed. I'm not sure if it crashed anywhere else, but in the U.S. it really did poorly, and we owned 7 homes at the time, and the bank was like, nope. So so we kind of got screwed. But anyway, long story short, I've been kind of around the niche for quite a while, and I kind of know a little bit about it. And so I was like, you know what, this would be a good niche to try, and so now we're here. So yeah.
Amazing. So you guys are offering ads for real estate agents. How do you guys kind of look at the service delivery and making sure that you guys differentiate yourself from the rest of the market? Are you guys doing anything differently in terms of like nurturing leads, in terms of like setting up appointment setters for, like, we have some people in GrowYourAgency in the community who also like even go as far to like have a team who calls the leads, and like kind of sort of to what extent are you guys going in terms of service delivery?
So in real estate, there's so many marketers in the real estate niche right now. And so you kind of just have to get better and better and better if you're going to stay competitive. And so we started off with just lead generation. And yeah, like you said, man, there's lead generation, there's, follow-up systems, that's called an ISA, where they have teams that actually call them up. And so we started off with just lead generation. And eventually, we'd like to do all the services because we know that that's the best service we can deliver. If we can actually get real estate agents actual booked appointments, that's what they need, but we don't want to just like throw 3 different services at these people and not have any of them mastered. And so what we started off by doing is just lead generation. And we did that until we actually started getting really good leads and for a really good price. And then recently we added in the follow-up system, and so now we have lead generation and a really good follow-up system. And we're starting to get for our clients really good results with the follow-up system, and starting to get them in contact with a lot of clients, a lot of the real estate agents clients. And eventually we're going to get into an ISA, but we just don't quite feel like we've got the follow-up system mastered yet. And we're going to do that first, then jump onto the ISA.
For sure. So kind of in stages, how's it gone? Where are you guys right now in terms of that?
Sure. So what we kind of did was we just looked at, I spoke to a few realtors and said, hey, what's like the main problem you guys are facing as far as lead generation, as far as bringing clients on to work with you, and by doing that, we've kind of nailed down a few of the things that they like, right? And we actually have kind of a survey that they can take to kind of let us know what what services they'd like us to offer if we could. So one of them, for example, is content creation. But essentially the way I look at it is you have content creation, and then the next step from that is lead generation. And then once you have lead generation, well, actually in between that even is traffic. So you have content, then traffic, then lead generation. And then once you have lead generation, you have follow-up, and then you have meeting setting. And so that whole process, if we can answer a few of those questions, or if we can solve a couple of those problems, remove that process from their workload, then you're going to make money doing it. So that's just kind of been our thing, is we just figure out what they need and offer it. So solve one issue at a time. So that's why we focus with lead generation, and then now we're into follow up, and then the next is probably going to be ISA, and then from there we'll probably maybe go back to traffic or content creation. We'll see what happens. So.
Interesting. And are you finding the most of the real estate agents you're working with, like, have they worked with agencies before, or usually you guys the first ones?
Yeah, most of them were the first ones. It seems like if they work with other agencies, they really have a bad experience and they don't stay with them, or they have a really good experience and they never leave them. And so that's kind of what we're seeing right now.
For sure. Have you guys ever worked with a realtor that had worked with an agency before?
I don't think so. No,
Yeah,
I don't think any of them have worked with one before.
Yeah.
I think that's a good test. I think that's a good testament in that case of like, no, there's plenty of fucking leads out there. Cause I think people just get so hung up on like oversaturation. SMA is oversaturated, this, that. And furthermore, especially like within real estate, cause real estate and e-com are pretty much like the two that people are like, okay, all right. Like you guys have good reason to, I always tell people, like I was speaking to one dude in one of my other student interviews who like does golf clubs because he plays golf. Like, I think if you have some sort of personal tie to a certain industry, like that is always just the best one to go for. Obviously that's the case for you guys and it's worked well. But yeah, I think most people just are like, okay, I don't know what to do, e-com or real estate.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
with that comes the thought that, it's oversaturated. That's why this isn't working, this, that. So I find it very interesting that basically none of your clients, and you guys have had quite a few at this point. You guys are the first agency. You guys popped the cherry, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as far as oversaturation goes, I always kind of refer back to what you say, an agency incubator, which is it's not a business problem, it's a personal problem.
Yup.
Which is, it's so true. It's so true. I mean, like literally, if there was one thing that you took away from agency incubator, it's literally that everything's a personal problem. So yeah, that's kind of what, because the thought had crossed our mind, I'm sure at some point, but it wasn't enough to like force us in either direction. So yeah, it's definitely not oversaturated, and even if it was, you can still win in an oversaturated market. It don't matter.
Yeah, you just have to offer something of value, that nobody else is offering.
Yep. Or do it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do it for cheaper,
it's totally fine.
Yeah.
And I feel like the oversaturation issue, what's happening when a lot of people feel like their niche is oversaturated, is they're doing a lot of outreach and they're getting some responses that are like, hey, I hear this pitch every day, leave me alone.
Yep.
Just keep outreaching. It doesn't matter. You're going to find somebody.
Yep.
So it really is what you believe.
100%. So apart from obviously extending out your services, so it's kind of full scope and literally it's like a entire like plug and play done for you. Apart from that, the service delivery side of things, like what does the next 12 months look like for your agency?
Yeah. Well, we're actually kind of in the middle of figuring that out, because this is all it's pretty it's fairly new, as far as or fairly recent, I should say. So kind of what I would say is in the next 3 months or so, he's got to finish his painting jobs in order to go full in. So kind of we're gonna slow it down, try to keep it at the 4 to 5 client range. Maybe try to get 1 or 2 higher ticket clients, which we've been able to do, thankfully. So hopefully we're moving more in that direction. So that's kind of the next 3 to 6, or probably 3 months.
I'd say, yeah, that's the next 2 to 3 months. After that, though, when we go all in, we want to grow it huge. There's no reason why we can't, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. And so, yeah, we just want to grow it really big. And I think with both of us when both of us are able to like give it everything we have, it'll grow fast. I really do believe that.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right. Well, gents, appreciate you taking the time coming on, and pretty much wraps it up for my questions. So
awesome. Thanks for having us, man. We really appreciate it.